Joseph Addison said, "What sculpture is to a block of marble, education is to the human soul." And I find that very reflective of this career track that I'm exploring of a special education teacher. I had the opportunity to interview Amanda Burt, which she is a special education teacher concentrating on life skills, continues to dedicate years of sculpting the lives of students from the classroom to the real world. She's a high school teacher, and she currently has 14 students that have a array of disabilities, which range from emotional, physical, and intellectual disabilities. Her resilience, motivation, and passion really continue to drive her and see results, positive results, within her students, both academically and with the soft skills that they have learned. So let's explore and dive into the career track of a special education teacher and learn a little bit about who Amanda is. So the roles and responsibility of a special education teacher really differ from the from what is on paper tasked out to be a special education teacher. So let's dive into this a little bit and explain a little bit more in depth. So organizing and designing daily class assignments and instruction. She really utilizes creativity and understanding of who her students are within her assignments and instruction. It is just not what the curriculum is actually saying to do. She dives into it and creates her own curriculum that is reflective of what it needs to be taught in a creative way. It's more of engaging with the students with what their likes and needs are to be able to have a successful output of instruction and assignments. Managing a positive, inviting a classroom culture. Again, I think it's reflective of her attitude and empathy. And we know empathy is the understanding of the individual being in their own shoes, but really reflective of her attitude. She's very positive, very bubbly, outgoing, and truly is reflective within her students and in the culture that she has created there. Her positivity really strands out throughout the whole day where students really get down and low, especially when assignments and things that they don't want to do come into play. Her classroom is really uplifting because of what she is and what attitude that she presents within the classroom. Consistency is the key. Coaching and consulting with students on academic progress. Again, she is very goal oriented. She's very driven, and that might turn off a student a little bit, but again, it goes back to her attitude and being very passionate about it and very reflective. She really wants the students to reach their goals. So she's doing one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and really being adapted to the environment of the learning styles of every student and displaying that and expressing that throughout the day. And then being an effective communicator, um, not only to the students, but to the parents and the administration. They want an alignment of the goals and the communication so everybody's aware and no hiccups come about within the classroom. So, her leadership style, how is that reflective of her leadership style? One of the quotes that I put on the bottom there that she said right in the beginning is, "My personality is key to how my leadership is defined." And that truly is. Talking to her for over an hour and this photo right here just showcases what kind of person she is and the leadership attributes that she really displays on a daily basis. As this picture really shows her instructing me, but she was really kind. She wanted me to understand it. She really broke it down to the bare minimum. And I always say elementary, which is reflective of how she conducts her class um, at, at the high school level. So her three qualities or attributes that she really stood out for her leadership style is pace setter, transformational, and influencer. So how is that reflective to what we read on seeing what leadership styles are successful? And I feel that after talking to her and seeing these three key attributes, those are reflective of what is supposed to be successful. When I talked about adapting to the environment, pace setter, it's not very quick, it's not very push every academic thing that we need to get goals accomplished. She is very adaptive. If things come about on a one-on-one with a student and it's not grasping, she needs to adapt. She does a great job of doing that and being aware of that, truly being aware of that. And it's reflective of being transformational within the students. And then within herself, she has seen a lot of her self-awareness and what her strengths and weaknesses are and reflective to her team, that she really delegates a lot of responsibilities to her aides in order to get the transformation out of her students, which is fantastic. Knowing yourself is one of the best leadership qualities out there to have. And then again, her reflective of her passion, her attitude, her motivation is really an influence to the students to achieve the goals as well, to feel what she's feeling and to have that culture that I talked about earlier be in a positive setting for positive results. So this is really interesting, and I love showing visuals more than words. So when we look at what data brings to the table as far as decision making, and then obviously the impact it has on the students, Amanda really reflected on progress monitoring sheets being the key data measurements that she utilizes to see progression, number one, and then retainment of learning, as she mentioned mastery. So here's an example of two examples here of the big goal within the IEP, which is the individual education program. And then it's really broken down into small achievable goals. And this is what these sheets reflect. So she does these right after instruction. So there's like an assessment or a quiz that is to assess the students' retainment of the material and then going into mastery. So I'll go into that a little bit further on the next slide. But this is really what she does to collect all of her data and to make daily decisions, even on the hour. If she doesn't see progress within the first block, she really adjusts very quickly to see what other things can work in order for the student to retain and learn the information. So here's just a quick breakdown of what that process looks like. Again, it's all about the individual education program. The IEP is really key into making those decisions of the goals that are placed and then how all the assessments come into play and all that data being driven is based off the IEP itself. And then she does a beginning of the year assessment where she looks at where they're at currently, and she'll do one every quarter or every semester to see growth within the student and how she can adjust and make things a little bit more challenging for the students, but also achievable as well. And that's where the assessment part comes into it. That's where all the data comes in, guys. The student is doing all the work. She collects the data and really assesses that data into how her practices are doing, her instruction, are the assignments engaging, are the assignments making sense? There's a lot of questions that come into that and decisions being made. And then follow up with the coaching and the communication. What can be done to adjust? Again, adjusting to the environment and then communicating effectively to them. The empathy part of that and being real positive. One of the examples that she used was really showing the best results out of it and using the language, such as if they got a 50%, you got 5 out of 10 right. That's fantastic. Let's look at areas of opportunity. It's not that you got it wrong, but areas of opportunity to improve. That positive language really is key to continuous improvement for the student. So this is one of the things Amanda really advocates for, and she really pushed for getting students more out of the classroom experience. So she really advocated for inclusion in that standpoint where the gen ed students were really getting experience outside the classroom for soft skills. She wanted the same for her students as well. So she created over the last 3 years, she has built partnerships with local organizations as well as organizations within the school to give the students soft skills. And then she created this form right here to really see to see the progression. If they're interested in such work like this, if the soft skills are being learned that can transition to future jobs beyond high school. And then, as you can see, the results right there, she has 60% success rate in jobs being obtained outside of high school just based off the program she's implemented the last 3 years, and the support the school has given her has been a fantastic advocacy. She's really huge on advocating for inclusion and equality because she doesn't want her see her students segregated because of their disabilities. So the school is really aligned into bringing that partnership together with the class, as well as the organizations that she has reached out to provide those opportunities to build on those soft skills. That has been an amazing program that she's developed over there and continuously advocating for to date. So learning experiences is really based on a set schedule. It's about consistency for students of any disability because any little hiccup here throws off a lot of the students. So consistency with the class schedule. And she does a great job again introducing inclusion to gen ed classes. So a lot of the specialty classes when we talk about cooking, talk about art classes, music classes, those students, she has advocated to get those students in those classrooms to learn. And again, really follow up on being creative with her assignments and to allow that engagement to really be interested in the learning and what is being taught. And then just to follow up with the volunteer sites, students, not all the students go out to volunteer sites to engage in the learning of soft skills, but they're broken down enough where they're scheduled out in advance. So parents, administration, and the class is aware of who's going where, and the opportunities are very equal among the group. And Amanda really teaches on group work and technology awareness. So, teamwork has been really key in her learning experiences. Teamwork, again, makes the dream work. I know it sounds corny, but it does. And then obviously transition over to the learning components of typing and navigating through the internet. These simple things that they know and they probably mastered already, but they want to implement those learnings so they can transition over to the real world. And as we talk about everything that we talked about, responsibilities, leadership, everything that comes within this career track of a special education teacher, being optimistic is extremely, extremely key to the success of a teacher moving forward. And I just wanted to just put visuals out there because she told me personally that, hey, optimism is in my blood. Optimism is who I am. This is why I pursue this career. And these pictures right here can't explain optimism enough. She seeing these kids and engaging with the kids, these students at this level and what they have gone through really has allowed her to grow as an individual, but as a teacher, and really has pushed into there is no negative outlook to what these students can and are willing to do. And to really put their hand forward and really succeeding. Success is really key within them. And that's what Amanda is reflective about. That's what a special education teacher is all about, is optimism and seeing the joy out of these kids 100% of the time. So, my final thoughts. What did I think about this career track and then comparison to my two that I've explored earlier in this session? Well, I truly believe that a special education teacher really embodies both career counselor and community outreach coordinator as far as roles and responsibilities. They embody all that and truly do. They're reflective of a small group of students, but a small group of students that mean so much, not only to the community and what they could bring to the community, but inclusion and equality. It's definitely more than academic teaching, truly more than academic teaching. Advocacy is not a secondary responsibility. It truly is a primary one. We want to continue to advocate for the needs and wants of these students, but also reflective of inclusion and equality. We want to teach these students that. And then finally, empathy is a key attribute to success in this career track. And I want to finally end this with this quote. It is not a special person needed for this position. It is a person willing to adore the specialness of these students. Thank you so much.